Hey guys, video of my new acquisitions. Here we have 3 PS2 titles. These are all Japanese. For anyone who doesn't have a Japanese PS2, which I imagine is a lot of people, there's so many amazing games that you can only get in Japan on the PS2. For varying reasons, some because they're more popular over there, others for localization reasons. I imagine Fire Pro sort of fits into that criteria. But yeah, starting off with that, this is Fire Pro Z for the PS2. Just get that in the frame. Basically, this was the sequel to Fire Pro D for the Dreamcast, which I think a lot of people played, primarily because it was easy to pirate on the internet back when the Dreamcast was out, as with most games. And this is fantastic. I'm waiting to get this for a while. From memory, this wasn't all that positively received. I'm not 100% sure why. It doesn't seem to play a great deal different from Fire Pro D. But, I don't know. It is unusual. But as you can expect from Fire Pro, thousands of moves, hundreds of wrestlers. It's absolutely fantastic. If you're into wrestling games that have a little bit of depth to them, and you don't mind the sort of 2D graphics, then Fire Pro is a brilliant game to pick up. And if that is the case, I'd recommend Fire Pro Return to the PS2, which you can pick up an NTSC version that came out in America as well as Japan, and it's all fully localized. Never saw a UK release, which isn't a surprise, but it's worth looking into if you've got an American PS2. As I say, this one's Fire Pro Z. This didn't come out anywhere but Japan. It was supposed to be the last Fire Pro game as well, but of course, judging from the name of the sequel and the fact that it is a sequel, Fire Pro Returns, you can tell they kind of gave up on that idea pretty quick. What do you got here? This is Transformers Takara, and yeah, it's kind of awful, but it's based on the G1 Transformers series, the Generation 1, which is the most popular, I'd imagine. The gameplay's terrible. It's like a busted version of Dynasty Warriors, but the character models are fantastic, the transformations are fantastic. It's even got like music for the Transformers film, or at least cover versions of it, which aren't as good, but just the fact that they're in there is so good. For any fans of Transformers G1, this is worth looking at, just from a collector's point of view, not from a gameplay standpoint, but it's just a really cool thing to own. I think it's about 100 or 40 Transformers or something like that. There's a bit of a difference there, but quite a lot. This is Vampire, Darkstalkers Collection. If anyone's played the Darkstalkers game, they're basically a more sort of demented version of Street Fighter 2. I think it was built on the same arcade board. I think this was the series also that introduced sort of super specials, and is it like maybe cancels and air blocking and things like that. Yeah, really good collection of games. This is the whole series. You can pick them up in the UK for like the Saturn and I imagine the PlayStation 1, I'm pretty sure. But obviously these are arcade perfect ports, and you get every version of the games ever released, so the sort of Alpha 2, Alpha Gold equivalents, Super Street Fighter kind of thing. Yeah, really good games. Worth looking into if you like Street Fighter, because the mechanics are pretty much the same. You've got your sort of half circle punch, your quarter circle kick. It literally plays just like Street Fighter. Again, exclusive to Japan, which is a bit of a bummer. They did release a similar one for the PSP, I believe, which just allows you to choose from every character in the Darkstalkers series, and every sort of play mechanic, like the different kinds of supers from each entry in the series, so that's actually pretty good as well. What else do we have here? Jak and Daxter The Lost Frontier. I love the Jak and Daxter series, wasn't too keen on the idea of it being handled by a different developer other than Naughty Dog, and the fact that it's on the PSP, so I thought I'd pick up the PS2 version, primarily because you can move the camera with the right analog. So far so good, doesn't seem too bad, doesn't look that great, but it is a PSP game, so it's not going to look as good as the Jak games, which still stand up really well now. Yeah, I still need to put some hours into this one really, but there's a lot of flying sections so far from what I've seen, more so than you'd have in Jak 2 or 3. Obviously Jak 1 was just purely a platformer, apart from a couple of sections. What else do we have here? Resonance of Fate. This is I think it's a Tri-Ace RPG. Again, I haven't put much time into this one yet. What I have played of it seems pretty good. The combat mechanics are a hell of a lot more fun than the ones in Final Fantasy 13. Or that is to say, they're just not as dull, because you actually... It's a combination of real-time and turn-based, but it actually feels more real-time, especially so when compared to Final Fantasy 13, which is the game, I guess, that made this sort of somewhat irrelevant. I mean, who's going to buy this when it comes out the same month as the biggest RPG release of the year? Probably no one. But yeah, like I say, the gameplay for this, which is rare for a Japanese RPG, the gameplay is the highlight. I look forward to putting some more hours into it. And yeah, it's not a lot to say, I guess, since I haven't played it that much. Game I have played and just finished is Splinter Cell Conviction. Temporarily, in terms of consoles, it's exclusive to the Xbox 360. I have no idea why that is. Maybe the sales for Double Agent on the PS3 weren't very good, or they had trouble pulling it. I have no idea. But this is absolutely fantastic. They've changed the gameplay, which is gonna, I think, burn a lot of fans. It's a lot more action-based as opposed to stealth. I mean, the stealth's still there, but it's a lot easier to get away with just running and gunning than it was in the earlier entries, and that's deliberate. I think the developers made a conscious decision. They've mentioned it in interviews and previews that they wanted to make it more accessible to gamers. It's Splinter Cell. I mean, the emphasis on this is basically just, I think cool is the word they could choose to market it, because you're hanging upside down, you're killing people. It's got the new sort of target and execute feature, which again, really, really gamey, but really fantastic. Basically, if you do a hand-to-hand takedown on any enemy, you get this targeting system which allows you to just target 2 or 3 enemies. You hit the Y button and it just automatically kills all 3 of them. And it looks really cool. It's really satisfying. It's pretty rewarding. But again, I can see how this would burn long-time fans of the series. I am a long-time fan of the series. Personally, I'm happy with it. The online mode's really good as well. There's an entire cooperative campaign just to play through online, which is phenomenal. And that's about it so far from what I've seen of this. Like I said, the storyline, in fact, I found really good. Typically, I didn't care about the Splinter Cell story. I mean, it's just, you go into this building, you save the world, blah, blah, blah. Usual kind of dribble. But this one's really personal to Sam Fisher, and there's a lot of twists and turns. And it actually kept me wanting to play it. So I'd say I highly recommend this if you're a fan of the series, and I highly recommend this if you like third-person action games.